What's good, guys, and welcome to the second ever World of Magic tier list by me, Lockul. Let's do this. So this tier list will be basing the magics on their overall damage, speed, and clash advantages. We're not basing it on terrain destruction or structure destruction or magic size, because that is not as relevant in a PvP situation. So let's get into this and start with Ash Magic. So Ash Magic has a really low magic damage of 0.85 according to the unofficial World of Magic wiki, and its magic speed is below average at 0.9. Now it has a clash advantage against light, snow, paper, wood, poison, lightning, magma, and acid. Wait, no, not acid. Light, snow, paper, wood, and poison clashes neutrally against lightning, magma, and disadvantage against acid, ink, ice, plasma, water, fire, earth, sand, glass, wind, crystal, explosion, iron, shadow, and gold, making this a very weak magic unless utilized correctly. So I'm going to have to put this into E tier personally. Sorry, Ash users. Next up, we will be doing Poison Magic, one of the most underrated magics in my opinion. Its magic damage is 0.75, a bit lower than Ash, but with its poison effects it can double with another 0.75, making it do 1.5 damage overall. Its magic speed is average at 1.0, and it has a clash advantage against only light and paper. Now, as this magic has barely any clash advantage, but its clouds are actually good for the magic because, well, the clouds, they do extra damage, so you don't actually have to hit somebody to deal damage to them. Therefore, I'm going to have to put this into D tier. Let's move on to the next magic. Next up, we have Wind Magic, which actually became quite a meta in PvP when the guild update released. Its magic damage is average at 0.925, much higher than the two magics which we have just covered. And its magic speed is fast, being one of the fastest magics inside of the game. It has a clash advantage against only 6 magics, being snow, sand, lightning, poison, ash, and paper, and clashes neutrally against acid, water, ink, and fire, making this a pretty okay magic. But one aspect of it which no other magic has, from what I've found out, is its knockback. Now, because of this knockback, I'm going to have to put it into C tier, because it's actually a really goated magic. It's actually really good in PvP, no joke. Okay, let's start the liquid magics. Now we have Acid Magic, which I just did an experience thing on. So magic damage is 0.75, melt up, which boosts it by 4.375. So it give it around a 1.2 damage. Its magic speed is pretty average. Now, like poison, it has extra damage if you don't hit them, which is the puddles. It has a clash advantage against fire, paper, water, sand, snow, ink, lightning, wood, and poison, and ash, making it a pretty okay magic, but not the best magic you can get. So I'm gonna have to put Acid into C tier, just behind Wind. Next up, we have Ink Magic with a magic damage of 0.925, magic speed of 1.0, and a clash advantage against fire, paper, lightning, sand, plasma, magma, water, poison, and ash, making it a pretty okay magic. But the one thing which separates it from its main rival, Water Magic, right over here, is that it doesn't synergize with magics like lightning and ice. So therefore, I'm going to have to put this in a pretty low tier. I'm going to put it in E tier, just behind Ash. Next up, we have Magma, which I would say is very similar to Acid. It has magic damage heavy high, just a bit better than Acid, with 0.925 damage plus melt up to 4.65, making it a very good magic, but its magic speed is very slow, making Acid the superior in this aspect. It has a clash advantage against loads of magics: paper, glass, snow, ice, wood, wind, sand, light, plasma, fire, shadow, earth, poison, gold, and iron. making it actually really, really good. So I'm going to have to put Magma. I'm going to say I have to put it like right next to Acid because it's actually really good. So I'm going to put it right next to Acid. But I would say if they're in the same tier with each other, then they don't really have much of a difference to each other. It's like one's a tiny bit better than the other, if you get what I mean. Okay, next up we have Water. The best magic for synergizing. Its magic damage is above average at 0.95 and magic speed of 1. And has a clash advantage against fire, lightning, magma, plasma, ash, paper, and sand, and synergizes with ice, snow, and lightning. Now, water on its own is actually okay, but when it's synergized with other magics, if you're like with a guild member with water magic, it'll be really good. But because of the purpose that the synergizing thing only works with a few magics, so without it, you're basically useless. So I'm going to have to put this into D tier, just below Poison. Moving on to the solid magics, we have Crystal, with magic damage of 0.95 and a magic speed which is actually quite slow, being 0.7. Now this isn't like the best you can get out of a magic, and it has a clash advantage against actually quite a few magics. Actually, it has some of the best clash advantages I've ever seen. Snow, sand, plasma, shadow, poison, wood, ice, light, fire, ash, acid, paper, ink, water, glass, and wind all have a clash disadvantage against Crystal. Now, because of its speed, I'm going to have to put it pretty low, so I'm going to have to put it in D tier. Sorry, Crystal users. I use Crystal in one of my files, but I don't think it's like the best magic you could go for if you're picking a solid magic. Okay, moving on to Earth magic. We have Earth magic right here. It has some of the best damage in the game, just best base damage. Magic damage of heavy 1.0, but the magic speed is very slow. Meaning you have to put like a magic speed build to get really good at this. Now it has a clash advantage against a lot of magics, including ash, wood, plasma, poison, shadow, sand, ice, crystal, snow, fire, light, acid, ink, paper, water, glass, and wind. Making it a pretty good magic. Now because of its speed, I'm going to have to put it pretty down. It's definitely better. It's a better alternative to Crystal. Yeah. And also, if you want to count magic size, which I might just start doing, it has a magic size of 1.3, which is extremely large, so it will have a lot of AoE, I guess. I think that's how magic size works. I don't really know how magic size works, that's why I'm not including it here. Okay, let's move on. Okay, moving on to Glass, the invisible killer magic. Its magic damage is above average with 0.9 damage, and the bleed effects, which you can actually place on the floor, like acid, and magma, you can, and poison, you can like put stuff on the floor to damage others. So I'm gonna say this magic is actually pretty good. It's probably one of the best solid magics I've seen, personally. But then again, it's very underrated, so I'm gonna have to put it, I'd say, the bottom of C tier. Oh yeah, and its clash advantages. It has clash advantage against shadow, wind, paper, water, ink, poison, ash, acid, sand, and snow, which is okay. Anyways, moving on. Okay, gold magic time. Now, this used to be one of the most heavy hitting damage, with extremely heavy, having up to 1.5 damage with its bleed effect. But its magic speed is terribly slow. Iron is a better alternative to this magic, so I'm going to have to put gold into the top of E tier, and it has a clash advantage against every single magic except magma, making it pretty good. So I'm actually going to move up to the bottom of D tier. But its alternative, iron, on the other hand, is a much better choice if you want to do a solid metal type of magic, because it has 1.375 damage, and its magic speed is slightly better than gold. Even though it has one more clash disadvantage against gold itself, I would say it's a much better alternative, so I'm going to put it in between Earth and Crystal. Okay, let's do Ice Magic. Now, Ice Magic synergizes pretty well with water. I'm just going to put that out there. If you want to use this magic well, you could just combine it with water. Now, it has a magic damage of 0.95, a magic speed of 0.8. It has a clash advantage against water, wind, glass, paper, ink, snow, light, sand, and poison, and acid. Making it okay, I guess. Like, it's not the best. I would say it's actually, like, it's around, like, it's better than water, definitely. Because it does it does a bit more base damage than water, and it can do well without synergizing, so I'm gonna have to put it inside of D tier. Moving on to our final two solid magics, we have Paper Magic, which I used to seriously hate, with magic damage of medium high of 0.85 damage, plus the bead effects, which boost up to a 1 point something something, I don't know, it's under 1.1, over 1.0. Its magic speed is fast, the same as Wind's magic speed. So I would say it's actually pretty good, but very underrated, so I'm gonna have to put it at the top of D tier. Actually no, bottom of C tier. Paper's actually really good. Moving on to Wood Magic. With a magic damage of above average 0.95 and a really slow magic speed of 0.7. For clash advantage against wind, glass, paper, water, light, ink, ice, snow, shadow, sand, and poison. So I would think this is it's okay. But then again, there's better alternatives. So I'd say bottom of D tier. Also, if you're wondering why I didn't say Paper's clash disadvantage, I just didn't want to embarrass it, you know. Because it has a disadvantage against nearly every single magic in existence. Okay, starting off our energy magics, we have Explosion Magic for magic damage of 0.925 and magic speed of 0.9, which is below average. So I'm going to say this magic is actually pretty average. I'd say it's definitely above, it's definitely like below Earth, but above Iron, so I'm going to put it here for now. It's pretty okay, you know. Now moving on to Fire Magic, one of the best magics in the game from what I've seen now. Its burn effect and its high damage, it's really good, and it has an average magic speed. The clash advantage against only paper, wood, glass, snow, and ash, making it okay, I guess, but not the best. So I'm gonna have to put fire into B tier. So yeah, that's kind of poggers, you know. Moving on to Light Magic, personally one of the best magics I've seen. Now, because it is the fastest magic in the game, from what I know, it has a 1.7 speed, so I'm gonna say, like, its speed makes it immaculate. Like, there's nothing which can beat this speed. It only has an advantage against wind. Now, you'll be fast enough to hit anybody, so clash advantages, they don't really matter. So B tier, you know. Gotta put that B tier in there. Then we have Lightning, which is next. With magic damage of a below average magic damage of 0.85, which is actually really bad for magic damage. But its magic speed is 1.5, and I like light. It will be very fast, but not as good as light. So I'm gonna have to put it into B tier. It has an clash advantage against paper, shadow, sand, ice, light, plasma, explosion, and wood. Moving on to Plasma Magic with some medium-high damage of 0.9 something if you add up the Scorch effect to its base damage, and magic speed of 1.1, which is above average, and clash advantage against paper, snow, wood, glass, fire, light, wind, explosion, poison, and ash. I'd say it's better than fire. It's arguably just better than fire. So I'm just gonna have to put an A tier. No cap. Now we have our final three magics: Shadow, Sand, and Snow. So if you go on to Shadow, its magic damage is above average of 0.95 and a magic speed of 1.4, which is the same as Wind, making it pretty fast, pretty high damage. I'm gonna have to put this, again, in A tier with Plasma. These are arguably the two best magics in my opinion, and according to statistics, it has clash advantage against ash, wind, poison, and plasma and ice. Now, like I said with the other magic, if your magic is fast, clash advantages just don't matter, because you'll just be too good. So next, we have our final two magics, sand and snow. And I think it's pretty obvious which empty tier is going to fill this up. It's weird, like, the powder magics they're not really good. They have above average damage, I'll give them that. Like, it's just obnoxious to see that. They have barely any clash advantages as well, so I'm going to have to put both of them in F tier. They're basically the same magic, but just with different colours, no joke. And a tiny bit different clash advantages, because Snow is weak to heat-based magics, but yeah. That's the tier list. If you disagree with the tier list, just say, because this is arguably due to stats and a bit of my opinion on the magic for a few of them, so peace out.